make a mental note. Marjorie Esman is the executive director of the Louisiana ACLU. Hey, Miss Marjorie, how are you this morning? Thanks for taking time for us.
I am fine, thank you. How are you this morning?
Well, I'm looking yesterday and again this morning at the list of all these atheist and secular organizations that seem to have, I don't want to say Bossier Parish schools in their sights, but they're paying very, very close attention to what's going on in Bossier Parish here in Louisiana.
And they sent the Bossier superintendent a letter notifying them of violations.
And I didn't see the ACLU of Louisiana's name on that list. Are you guys with them? What is your stance?
Well, I've read that letter, and that letter seems to me to be an entirely accurate statement of the law of this country, and we know enough about what's going on in Bossier. We are, after all, a Louisiana organization, to know that in fact, the Bossier Parish schools have violated the constitutional rights of their students.
Tell us how.
And this is not new law. These are things that go back to the 1940s, when the Supreme Court was very clear that schools cannot force students to stand for the pledge, salute the flag, sing the anthem, those kinds of things that are essentially forcing students to adhere to a position that they may dissent from. And the Bossier Parish schools are essentially ignoring the law of this country, and therefore they're teaching students something that is incorrect about the fundamental principles upon which this country was founded. And I think that they're doing their students a grave disservice, not only by violating their rights, but also by teaching lessons that are wrong.
Where does this argument go now? Is this a legal fight? Will you join in? Will you file a suit?
Well, I can't tell you what anybody else can do, and I will tell you that we will never say in advance what we will do. But I can't answer that question on behalf of somebody else, and I won't answer it on behalf of the ACLU. But I will say this: Bossier Parish has violated the United States Constitution. The United States Constitution is very clear that schools cannot force students to pray or engage in or participate in school-sponsored prayer, and that means using school equipment for prayer and things like football games. And they cannot force students to adhere to some kind of political orthodoxy. So they are breaking the law. And I'm going to say something else that I think is really important to remember, and that is that these problems. I mean, students now with the taking a knee and all of that, they are protesting what they perceive as problems with racial justice in this country. And whether they're right or they're wrong doesn't matter. The point is that there is an issue, and that issue is not going to go away by shutting it down. The only way we're going to solve these problems is by encouraging people to talk about them. Problems don't go away by silencing people. So what they're doing is not only breaking the law and violating the rights of their students, but they're also actually creating an environment in which these problems will fester and get worse.
Bossier Parish can't be the only municipality where this is happening. Why is Bossier Parish in the crosshairs, in your opinion?
Well, I can't tell you what's going on anywhere else. What I can tell you is that Bossier Parish is the place that is known to have done this. Now, I'm not saying that there's no place else in the country that's doing the same thing, but if there is, it hasn't been brought to public attention. So I don't think it's that anybody's picking on Bossier because it's Bossier. I think it's because, for whatever reason, what's happening in Bossier has made news. And it may be happening all over the country, but it hasn't made news, and I can't answer why that is.
What about those people who say Bossier Parish, by broad numbers, wants prayer, wants to do this? Your response to them would be, then you need to get the law changed, right?
That's right. They're breaking the law. I mean, they can want all kinds of things, but they have an obligation to obey the law of the land. And again, this is not new. I mean, the Supreme Court ruled in 1943 that students can't be forced to engage in patriotic displays. And it was the 1960s when the Supreme Court ruled that schools can't force prayer on students in schools. So this is not new. And every administrator in Bossier Parish schools has come up and been educated since that time. They've all learned this. So they are deliberately breaking the law, and that's also not the right lesson to teach their students, that they should deliberately violate the law of the land. So they may want something that they can't have, But they do have an obligation to obey the laws of this country and to teach students to do that.
Miss Marjorie, just to clarify, you have
Sure.
at this point the Louisiana ACLU. You guys have not contacted Bossier Parish schools with any kind of, I don't want to say threatening letter, but with you have contacted them and
You have
said,
posted on your website, and I'll read it to you. The ACLU of Louisiana.
We sent the public, kind of a public statement.
Okay, so but
when,
you have not.
When we first learned that they were forcing students to stand.
But just to clarify, you or anyone from the state ACLU, you have not spoken directly with anybody at Bossier Parish.
No.
Okay.
No, we have not. We have not. We put them on notice of what the law is. And we sent that statement out the way we did because we wanted that notice to go out to all of the school systems in Louisiana to make sure that everybody understood what's happening in Bossier is against the law. Please don't do that anywhere else.
Just so I understand, putting them on notice is posting it on your website.
Well, we didn't just post it on our website. We sent out an open release that went to media all across the state.
Did you send it to Bossier Parish? I guess is my question.
We did not directly send anything to Bossier City. No, we did not.
Is there a reason?
Bossier Parish.
Is there a reason why you did not? Yet.
That wasn't what we were trying to do. I mean, we're not threatening anyone. We don't threaten. If we're going to sue, we're going to sue. If we're not going to sue, we don't sue. And again, I don't answer that question. But let's put it this way. There are these organizations that sent this letter. They took an approach that's different from the one that we took. It's not right or wrong. It's just different. The main point is that they have accurately stated the law, as we did, although when we sent our statement, it was just about the kneeling and not about prayer. But they have accurately stated the law, and it is now up to Bossier Parish officials to make sure that they obey the law. That's their obligation.
Marjorie Esman, the Louisiana ACLU. One more question. Let me ask you this.
Sure.
And I know you can't tell me what action you will take, but if I can go at that at another side way, you would first need a plaintiff, correct? I mean, you would need somebody to step forward and go, my child was forced to stand for the national anthem and did not want to, therefore I want to take legal action. Is that how kind of this legal skirmish would work?
Well, yes, of course, every lawsuit requires a plaintiff. That's right. That's right.
Have you had a plaintiff come to you yet?
Or do you hunt for one?
Well, to some extent, I can't answer that because that's confidential. Okay, when people come to us, it becomes sort of, attorney-client privilege protection. So I can't answer that. And I'm not going to give you any hints about what may be coming down the line. So if you're trying to get me to give you that hint, I'm not going to do it.
On a scale of 1 to 10, this is going to end in legal action. Is a 10? Where would you fall?
I'm not answering that. I'm not going to do it.
What if
I'm going to tell you what I said, which is that we expect that school officials across the state will obey the law and will teach their students what the law of this country actually is. And in Bossier Parish, they are not doing that, and they need to come into compliance with the law.